and welcome to your Cosmic Weather Report with me, Ashley, and Bella. We're going to be sharing some charts from Genetic Matrix. We're going to be focusing on the full moon in Pisces. We entered the full moon portal probably a day or two ago. You've probably been feeling it build. The peak was this morning, correct?
No, it's in 5 hours.
Oh, it's in 5 hours. Okay. We'll pull the chart up and we will clarify all the details for you. But for now, just tune into how you're feeling and how you're interacting with the energy. Is there any resistance? Are you feeling any pain in your body? A lot of pain is communication of resistance. It's all messages. And if you're feeling pain, if you're feeling exhaustion, if something's coming up in your body, it's just a message and there's truth underneath it. So now would be a great time to uncover it, because it's like this last hurrah of what's here and then releasing and letting go to make way for what's possible, probable, potential in the new moon. So
this is a snapshot of right now. And we see here, we are not in the full moon yet. We have the moon that is still in gate 55, meeting up with Saturn. So that's a very interesting meeting right before Saturn is here in Pisces for several years. And the moon is meeting with Saturn and then meeting with the Earth, the way we see it in human design and gene keys, and then being opposite the sun. So the opposition between the sun and the Earth is what creates a full moon. And it's happening, like we say, very close here to Saturn in Pisces. So some of the keywords is from victimization to freedom, and also from weakness to equality, and from exhaustion to resolve. It's a 2-4 day, so it has to do with feeling into the ease and naturalness of creating that. Then we also see in the body graph, we have one channel, the 4037, which is exactly those two activations. So it's not only creating this activation in the wheel, it's also creating it in the body graph, and it's creating it in the human program, we could say, that has to do with the tribal circuitry. It has to do with community. It has to do with support. It has to do with the roles, traditional or non-traditional. Usually we speak about the 40 and the 37 as more traditional roles. We have them as the mother and father archetypes in the 64 doors. So what is it that wants to get to a peak and maybe dissolve or die or transform as we're going into the full moon this evening?
yeah, and when we speak about the full moon and the full moon portal, you can see on the chart too that the moon moves rather quickly. So like Bella said, it's in the 55 right now, but as we reach the peak, yep, it's going to be in the 37. So the Earth and the moon will be conjunct, and that's the opposition point from the sun. So you can see that we've got 40 and then the programming partner is 37. So because the programming partner is also the harmonic gate, we have this channel of community, like Bella said, the mother and the father. And what I want to bring to your awareness is that when we have these kind of portals, these full moons, new moons, as the moon is moving closer and closer to this full potential or new moon potential, we are also reflecting, getting illuminated to us the gates that come right before it too. So you can see, I'm looking at the 13 right now. So there's something that we're listening inward to. We have so many planets in retrograde. So the listening is an inward listening. What truth wants to be revealed to you from you? And the 49 is all about revolution and rebirth. But here we have principles. So like, what are the rules? What are the values? What are the principles that you're living by? Does it align to your truth? What game are you playing, with the 55 being the game changer? It's like, what role have you fit into? What is the mother and father archetype for you? Is there an evolution of this archetype? How have you related in relationships before? Was it like a bargaining? Was this whole coming to meet whole, or like this kind of codependency pattern? What's happening in the relationships, in the relating? You can see also we have the 30, which is the fire starter. So it's like, what is it you're desiring? What you're desiring is also desiring too. How can you step into your wholeness, completeness as a balanced masculine and feminine being, regardless of gender? How are you balanced in yourself? And how do you meet with life, merge with life? This is in the second line. The second line is all about relating and relationships and the dance. So are you being met in that dance? And who is mirroring back to you? Because a lot of the mirroring is just showing you who you are too, or what you're resisting, or even showing you what you need to like let die or not show up anymore. Like, what are your boundaries? What are your non-negotiables? What are you willing to accept in your life? And what are you not? So it's like, what dance partner did you choose? And what have you learned through that dance? And if you are learning, are you learning a new dance? Did you decide instead of to dance, am I going to be playing an instrument? Because you can change the game. You don't need to keep perpetuating the same thing. And you don't have to keep bartering and bargaining in the same way. If you read David Data's work, he also speaks about how relationships evolve. So if you're curious about any of that, you can read some of his work, where I'm not a pro at this, so I can't even talk about these different phases, but there's evolutions of relationships and relating. And a lot of the role modeling that we saw as children is like at one of the lowest levels. I show up half, you show up half, we make wholeness, and let's create some codependent contracts so that we can stay this way, so that we don't have to grow to our potential. And as a human being, let's all make a pact to grow and evolve to our fullest potential, and not like we're going to rally for each other. We're going to be like, I support you in your empowerment and your wholeness, and you support me in my empowerment and my wholeness. And we keep each other accountable to show up and keep growing and keep evolving. And this is tribal circuitry too, 40 and 37. So what's best for the tribe?
So this is the Jinky chart for the full moon. As Ashley was speaking about relationships, what I am looking at is the core wound of the collective. So Richard Rudd is saying that the 57, the shadow of unease, is what codes the core wound for humanity. And that 57 in the line of the heart and the breathing is in the attraction sphere for the full moon. So the chemistry that we have between ourselves and others in this full moon is allowing us to tap in to that core wound. The core wound, when we work with it, it unlocks fuel, it unlocks potential for service, for initiative. So the relationships are going to be important in this full moon. And we can also see, when we look at what's going to make us expand, we look at those closer relationships, the partnerships, and we see, is there nurturing there? Is there selfishness, or is there nurturing? And what are the talents that each one of us bring at the table? Because 27 is a Taurus gate. So it is to know that some of the things that are activated right now in relationships is taking us all the way to the core of those primary wounds of humanity. And we're told that if we want to expand, if we want to move beyond where we are, we need to look at those partnerships and see, where is there a reciprocity? Where is there mirroring? Where are we able to come together to union? Is there anything you want to mention about that?
I did want to mention about how this is the cross of planning, and the cross of planning is like, it's like we're getting an opportunity during this full moon to kind of release and let go, so we can also move forward into, the cross of the sleeping phoenix that's coming. It's like we're getting opportunity to see how this cross, this our incarnation cross, is kind of playing out, and seeing with that 2.3, what do we want to orient with? What direction are we going in? Are we going in the same direction in the relationships we currently have? What is nourishing and nurturing us? What is the other asking for? What are you asking for? And in a way too, like, what is your own leadership saying? Like, what's the direction you want to go in? Can you stand up for that and move forward in that way? And it's like the 16 is also waking up the collective from their indifference to become versatile, to learn new skills, to experience new things, to explore new ways of self-mastery too. So you need to wake up to the disillusionment, wake up to the illusion, wake up to the fact that it's like, is there an opportunity to grow here? Or with the nodal environment being in the 42 and the 32, what do we need to let go of so that we can move forward in our highest and best? It's like, sometimes we can't take people with us. Sometimes they won't grow in the same direction we are. They'll have their own path, but it's like, what's leading you? What's guiding you? And like allowing for that trial and error process to figure out the path by meeting up with different people, different potentials, and seeing, like, discerning this or this, and kind of picking. And the IQ is here to help us remember. But are we going to get into our body to remember? Or are we going to stay stuck in our mind and objective without actually making any decisions, and just sitting, reflecting, contemplating, and not taking any action? It's like, look at it, feel it in your body, name it, move forward. right? IQ, look at it, have mindful awareness of it. EQ 46, get in the body, feel it deeply. SQ, like also you're already in the body, name it, name the thing, name that detail, name that direction, and then take the leadership and guidance, go in that direction. Very powerful energy, like 6th line, overview, 5th line, do it, take action, go. But obviously the 57 is guiding us into heart. What is the heart saying? What's the truth there first and foremost, connecting to the heart? Do you remember to include the heart?
Yeah, this IQ sphere that Ashley was mentioning, it has a 6th line. So it is to be objective. We have an emotional authority for this full moon. It's in Pisces, where we have Saturn and Neptune as well. So it's not to do things kind of crazily spontaneously. It's more about waiting for clarity and being objective about the big perspective. That's going to be important. In history, the way that everything is on the sky right now with all these retrogrades and where Venus went retrograde, there has been in the past very big shifts for humanity 500 years ago and 500 years ago before that. And it's something that we see as well in this chart. You have the vocation sphere in the 31, you have the SQ in the 62, and this is the codon ring of no return. It's in the 5th line, which is a heretic. So when the heretics start to speak the truth, there is no return. And it feels like it's going to be that kind of split in consciousness that is going to be more and more shown. There are going to be things that are going to come up and that we are ready to start to take a stance for. And once we have, there's no return. So it's a 5th line, resonance with the 5th line in both the Venus and the Mars. And this has been laying here and it's coming up to the surface, but we know that those two are from the design. So this is 3 months ago that really we had Venus and Mars in those activations. And now it feels like it's coming up for this full moon. There can be a lot of confusion with all this Pisces, but it feels like using that objectivity, understanding what happens in the close relationships, and then being able to decide, who am I in the world? What do I stand for? And there are those powerful aspects with all the retrogrades and Venus that is stationing, going direct on the 3rd of September, that actually has to do with values, that has to do with how we're moving forward and what we are choosing to take a stand for, what we're choosing to include in our life forward.
Yeah. I hope we all could get clear on, that truth that you just mentioned. Who am I in the world and what do I stand for? What is your medicine? And what is supposed to be revealed through you? That was something that came up in Spark of Creativity. One of our members was sharing that, and it felt really similar and resonant with what you just said too. And can we move forward in that direction, standing behind and for who we are and how we want to meet and interact with the world? What form of leadership is coming through us? And as in the culture sphere, if it's 27.2, how are you nurturing and nourishing that? Getting clear on that direction.
Yep. And even looking at the motivation, it's not necessarily to sit still and hope that everything is going to go well. There's going to have to be some sifting through to look at our life and see what's there for us to focus on and to get our sleeves up and resolve. But in order to do that, we need to let go of the fear of failure, and we need to start to detach from the outcomes that we thought we wanted. With the astrological weather right now, the world is going to change. But the most important thing, again, decondition, being your true self.
Yeah, the world is changing and you're required to change too. So get busy changing, or get busy perpetuating the same reality and it getting more and more tough for you. You can resist the change and struggle, or you can flow towards this point of growth and completion. That's what the nodal environment is bringing us towards, is these completion moments. So let things be done so you can get the new stuff. You can't have all this stuff in your bag. Don't stop hoarding. Stop hoarding people and experiences and just let it go. And then be like, all right, what's next for me on this human experience? Is there anything to support the full moon energy that you've came across? Water, baths, salt. That's something that's been coming up for me.
I would more like going the dark side. I would say, don't be afraid. I think there are things that are going to come up, unexpected things as well. So whatever happens, don't be afraid.
Or be afraid and just move forward. Like, don't get frozen by fear. Because
just know that these changes are going to happen, and the more anchored we are in our true self, the more we're going to be able to think on our feet and know in the moment if we need to move or if we need to not move. There are things in the next 2 weeks that are really going to change the way we live, and hopefully we're going to be able to make sense of it and look back and see that. And again, Saturn and Neptune and the moon together here in Pisces, and they are on the opposite side of Virgo, where the Sun and Mercury, and close to also where Mars is. It's like the closer planets feel like we can micromanage in our everyday, but that's not what this full moon speaks about. It says there's no micromanaging, there's no managing at all. But if you can not kind of go to the extreme or the crazy places with Pisces, if you can stay in this world and be grounded in this world, this too shall in some way pass, but like it's going to activate things that we're going to need some of this Virgo practicality to deal with. But the most important thing, like you said, is to not freeze, and is to not like think it's necessarily wrong and that it has to go back to be as it was before. We have a lot of retrogrades. It feels like we're kind of stuck in the past, but at the same time as all these retrogrades are happening, as Venus is turning direct and also Saturn soon, we are going to see different things happening close to us and
in the society.
Yeah.
Slow down. You're doing fine, in the words of Billy Joel. And allow that content to come through. Whatever's happening in Pisces, like let it come. There's no action that needs to be taken right now. Just collect that, sink into it. If we're also an emotional authority with the 3740 channel, like let it come. Ride the wave. You'll have clarity soon. Don't worry. Don't resist. Let it come and let yourself collect the information. You're like, all right, we got this. And then you can make a decision later. And that's maybe where Virgo will come in and be like, let's organize this and make a list and do these things and be the shaman.
Exactly. And just know that wherever you are right now in your life, this is what you set yourself up for. And I want to say intuitively the 3-4 last years, like whatever you have done the last years is how you set yourself up to be where you are now, where the kind of the next wave of changes is happening. Think about that, because life is always cycles upon cycles. To just know that those small decisions based hopefully on Australian authority every day are setting you up for the future, are setting you up for life. And it's not really about good or bad, but whatever kind of thing you resisted on your path for these years, in some way, now it's time to see the consequences of that, good or bad.
Yeah, so good. Happy journeying. See you on the other side.
Bye.
Bye.